Stephen Wayne Rochon, U.S. Coast Guard, Rear Admiral. And maybe I shortchanged myself because I was thinking of my enlisted background. Before me, I think there was maybe one other person that came from an enlisted background to make flag officer. So my chances, if you just look at the numbers, were very slim. And like I mentioned, getting that phone call, I was in disbelief. I was ready to retire. I had a great job in New Orleans, and this was going to be my opportunity to stay home and do something else. I'd already been offered a job as, well, not really offered, I was the top 3 candidates to become the president of the Port of New Orleans as a civilian. And I had certainly considered that because that was going to be a nice transition from my military experience as a captain of port, until I received that phone call from the commandant saying, "Welcome to the Flag Corps." And so I gracefully pulled my name from consideration for the president of the port. And it was the best decision I'd ever made because the Flag Corps is very unique. That is the top leadership of the organization. I've always learned to push myself, although at times, in fact many times, it was intimidating. I didn't know how to be an admiral, whatever that takes. But whenever I was faced with something like that, I took the challenge, pushing the envelope. And I can think of 100 things of where I was offered something and I said, can I do this? Like the job at the White House. I don't know anything about being the director of the president's house, but I never ran from a challenge. So being in a Flag Corps was a challenge. How would I get along with all of these folks that graduated from the Coast Guard Academy? We call them ring knockers because they had these big academy rings, and you kind of felt a little bit out of place. But then I quickly says, well, I've proven myself all these years. I could be just as effective as a leader as someone that graduated from the academy. So, but I was embraced by the Flag Corps. Pleasantly surprised, being particularly at the very top, the Commandant of the Coast Guard. And normally they wouldn't do that if they didn't know what your background was and what they thought your capabilities were. So, so to speak, I became a member of the club, the wardroom of other flag officers, and never once felt that I felt out of place while I was in that position. But it put me in a great position to make some major changes on the entire organization that I could not have done as a captain or a commander. And so those, I guess it was 3 years as a flag officer before I went to the White House. That was the pinnacle of my career, to reach that level. It was always butterflies when something else was put in front of me. But it certainly did, I think, make a difference. And I don't know if too many other people at higher levels wouldn't feel the same way. You think of maybe even the President of the United States, whether it be President Bush or President Obama, I'm certain would have some butterflies and saying, wow, this is going to be a tremendous challenge. But I think any leader, whether it's the president or a general or an admiral or a pope, has succeeded because they have pushed themselves a step further in something that may have seemed to be extremely challenging, and whether or not they question themselves whether or not they could succeed at that. But that alone, I think, is a major step that all folks, even young folks, you can think of in school, and positions that should be have been offered even in middle school, by doing it anyway. Someone says, we want you to run this organization. I did that even in high school, where someone says, we think you ought to run for student body president. And I says, wow, are you kidding me? You know, all these students here, and I've got to represent, you know, the student body to these nuns, you know. That was pretty challenging. But I couldn't resist going for it anyway. And that did make a difference. Always looking at that challenge, getting rid of the butterflies, and end up going for it and succeeding at it. And every time I did that, it gave me more confidence to take the next challenge.